Next, we will take a look at how to load multiple files from a folder in one go using Power BI Desktop. In the initial session, we discussed about, or in the past session, we discussed about how to load the CSV file and SQL Server also, we have seen it. But in order to load the data, we need to open the Power BI Desktop, we need to launch the Power BI Desktop. And here you will find the Get Data icon. Just beneath this, you can see a lot of connectors, right? Here, if you want to load an Excel file, select this one. If you want to load any text or CSV file, you need to click on it here, right? You need to click on this to load the text data or the CSV files. And SQL Server, if you want to connect to SQL Server, you can select this one. Okay, once you select this one, you need to specify your SQL Server name and username and password to connect to SQL Server, and you can bring in the data to your Power BI Desktop. Okay, and this is your CSV file. So here, let's say if I have 10 files are there, my manager gave me 10 files and he says, hey, you combine all these files in a single file and then you create this report. So in this report, these are the KPIs that I needed. And these are the visuals, I needed. Okay. Or these are the reports that I needed, right, in the form of visual. So in that case, what you do is the 10 files given by him, you need to load it one after other here, right? So or the Excel file or CSV file he gave it, you need to load it one after the other. If the file data, right, each file volume of data is very huge, right? It will take, let's say, each hypothetically, let's say each file to load it takes 3 to 4 hours time because it has a huge volume of data in it, each files. So in that case, you need to sit next to the system and you need to keep, load one after the other files, right? Until the first file gets loaded, you cannot load the second file. And once the first load gets completed, so someone has to sit next to the system and load each and every file one after the other. Instead, they have given an option called folder connector. I just clicked on the more because in that thing, right, it was not visible. When you click on more, you will find the folder connector and various other types of connectors available there. Look here. The first one is all. And as you can see, different types of, the source files types are available. I'm going to select the folder connector. Okay, folder. I just selected the folder connector. I'm going to hit the connect. Yes, you need to specify your folder name. For example, in my case, I have something like this. And if you scroll down here and in the D drive, you have something called NC sales, NC daily sales. This is your main folder name. And if you select here, NC daily sales, and you can put it here, NC daily sales, we are done. Folder path. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. When I hit OK, what is going to happen? It will take all the files, right? So when you select this option, right? So the file information about all of the files in this folder are displayed. Okay, and also the files that are available in any subfolders will also get picked up automatically. See, in this case, this is the main folder, NC daily sales, according to me. Okay, within this, I have some subfolder called APR. Even in this folder, I have some files, right? So whatever the files that are available in this main folder and the subfolders also automatically get picked up when you use the folder connector. I am going to hit the OK button now. Now you can see that the March, May, and April. See, March, May, and April is available here in the subfolder. It picked up all the files, including the files that are available in the subfolders, got picked up automatically. We don't have to manually specify them. Okay. And then if you see here, there is something unique when it comes to folder connector. So almost all the data files, when you load it, right, you can, before you loading it, you can see these three buttons, but this is one additional button. You can see it as part of the folder connector. So here in this combine, if you select this drop down here, you have two options, combine and transform data. What it does is if you select this option, it combines the data in the files of the selected folder, and then it loads the data in your Power Query editor for editing or data transformation. Okay. So the next option is combine and load. As the name suggests, right, it'll combine all the data and then it'll load it. But what I do is at this one, don't do anything. Okay, now simply load these files. Okay, simply load these files, and I'm just hitting the load button. Three rows got loaded. You can see that these three files got loaded in our Power BI desktop. Only the files. Okay, I just loaded the file names here. So what I do is I select only these two columns, and then the rest of the columns are not required for me, and for me, right? So these are kind of your metadata. So what this file is about, when this file got created, when this file got accessed or modified, and then folder path and other, right? So it shows all the metadata information. What is metadata? Data about data. But this data files, it gives me more additional information when this file got created. All that is what your metadata. So now what it is, I don't need this metadata. All I need is these three files needs to get combined here, right? That is what I needed. I'm going to select these two columns. This is just for my reference, and then right click on it and remove other columns. Look here, this is a beautiful feature. Usually we can see only the remove columns, right, in some softwares, but remove other columns is very much helpful. If you have hundreds of columns, out of which if you need only two columns, you just select this option. Remaining 98 columns, you don't have to select it manually. It will remove all the columns except the column that you selected. I'm going to click on this. Look here. So now only these two columns are available now. And at the same time, if you look at the applied steps, right, just beneath this, you can see what steps that I carried out. Removed other columns. This is the step that I carried out a while back. And the source is the step that one is created automatically by Power Query Editor. Currently, we are in Power Query Editor. Okay. And you can see that here also, NC Daily Sales. Okay. The folder name. Though it is a folder name, Power BI considers this as a table. Look at the table icon. As I said in the previous sessions, irrespective of the type of the file you loaded, Power BI consider everything as a table. Okay. It's something like irrespective of the country where you come, right? When you come to India, you need to follow Indian rules, right? Something like that. Okay. So it's used as a common type of source type, something like table. Okay, but here I just go to the Power Query Editor, and I just go to this step. This is what we carried out. The next one, what I'm going to do is, if you select this icon, if you keep the cursor over, you can see the combine files. Okay, and so here the reason you might be asking this, and you could have done it before loading the data. So you found some option like combine and load. Why you are doing it here? Supposing, okay, I just do one thing. Okay, supposing in this folder, you have mix of Excel files, JSON files, certain files that are not relevant to your analytics. Okay, you don't have to see in this folder, you have different files are there. Okay, the NC Daily says, so the folder connector can come and pick up all the files that are available in the main folder NC Daily source and also the subfolders. But all the files are not required. There are some files I need to exclude it. So in that kind of situation, you can go and select it here, right? You can select it here. Okay. For example, CSV files, load only CSV files, the Excel files, you don't load it. Select only .csv, all the CSV files will get selected. You can exclude the files that you don't need it. Okay. So for this, right, for that purpose only, I just loaded all the data fast, and then I just, open the Power Query Editor. The moment when I open this, I could see this very first step. And here itself, we can exclude the files that are not required for analytics. And one other important prerequisites to combine the data, all the files in your folder are supposed to be in the same format, same file type. If it is a CSV file, all the files should be comma separated value files. You cannot have a mix of JSON files and Excel files. You cannot combine it. Remember this. This is the limitation. Okay. Okay. The next thing is, yes, I just removed all the other columns related to the metadata that are not required for analytics. The next step is what I do is here the combine files option is with the icon. I'm going to hit this icon and it will open up the Power Query Editor, wherein you will find all these three files get loaded here. But before combining it, it displays the preview window, the data preview window. And here you can see, you can get a cursory look at it. Okay, you have what are the columns are available, right? All the things, whether the data requires any treatment or something like that. In case of any data related issues, probably by taking a cursory look at it, you will get to know. And also, you can make sure that, all these files have some at least data in it. And it is the right file that you need to load it here. Okay, this just give you the preview, the gist of the data. Okay, not the entire data. As per the preview, currently we are in preview window. Remember this. Okay, and then we have an beautiful feature called skip files with errors is available here. Okay, this is very much helpful. For example, in this example, we are using a simple data file, because simple in the sense less number of records. Let's say you are combining three files, and each file size is 25 million records are there, 26 and 24 million records are there. In that case, right, to loading each file takes a lot of time. Let's assume that hypothetically it takes 3 hours time. Each jobs, there are some jobs in the production system, in the enterprises production system. It involves some kind of SLA, service level agreement. What do you mean by service level agreement? So-and-so job needs to be completed in so-and-so time. Okay, within the stipulated amount of time, certain jobs needs to be completed. Otherwise, it will have a significant impact on your business. Fine, this requires 3 hours time, and even this one requires 3 hours time. Even this on average, okay, 3 hours time is required. So what happens is when you load the data, right? When you combine the data, what will happen is, let's it takes 3 hours time, right? The load has to complete in 3 hours time. But at the end of 3 hours, third hour, you see 2 hour 50 minutes, the data are being loaded. So far so good. Up to 2 hours 50 minutes, it's all doing it a good job. And by 2 hour 51 minutes, right, the job got failed because I have few records, less than 100 records or 50 records. I have some issues in it, some errored records. Because of these few records, the entire load got failed. The worst part is just before completion of the load, it got failed. So what you have to do again, you need to restart it. But before you restarting it, you need to break your it, right? So where, which records cause this problem? What is the root cause? Everything you need to do it. You need to do analysis. Instead, if you select this option, even if you have any error record, skip it and then load it. And also it will show you the error records. Once the load get completed, for example, 50 records, right? Error records. By taking a look at it, it will not take much time. And after fixing the data related issues, reloading the 50 records will not take much time. So that is when these kind of options are very much helpful. Hope you understood this feature, right? And then what you do is, okay. Next, what it is, once you enable this, hit the okay. Okay, all the three data files got combined successfully. Still, we can see that it is loading. Look here, it created a lot of steps here. So we just did the removed other column step. The rest of them got got it done by the Power Query editor itself, including the change time. It assigned the data type for each column also. Very good. You did a fantastic job. Now, how can I check how many number of records got loaded here? Because in the data view, you cannot, if you go to the data view, you cannot see the data now because we have not yet applied that. But you can see the data here, but it is a metadata only. It is not the actual data. So what are the files and which folder, right? This is the one we can see it in the data view. Whereas in the Power Query editor, we can see the three files combined data here. But how do I check the how many number of records? For that, you need to select the transform ribbon. And here you will find something called count rows. When you hit this, you will find the number of records which got loaded into this query. So in the Power Query editor, the tables, what we called tables here in the Power BI desktop, we call it as a query. Okay, incident. So this is what we can see. But you can see that 3,361 records are there, all these 3 months data put together, right? So now the question is, okay, I don't want to, okay, I just check the total number of records in these 3 files, and I don't need this any longer. You can click the cross next to the counter rows. Now it's fine, right? So this query consists of the 3 months data in it. Okay, and then you just select file and then click close and apply. So what it does is it will close your Power Query editor, and at the same time it apply all the steps to your model. So you might be wondering, so do I need to explicitly say apply? Yes. See, in this case, we have done only few steps. In the real-time data right scenario, we will have more number of steps. Right? What happens is when you load the data in Power BI, it load, right? So what will happen is it load this data into your cache, nothing but memory. Whatever the step that you carry, it's all happening on the memory only. You want this to be made permanent as for a data model, you need to apply all these transformations to the data model by selecting this option. Close enough. Or you can simply click on apply. Apply, what it does is it apply all the steps on your model. Close and apply is okay. I don't need Power Query editor any longer. Close the Power Query editor, and before, right, and at the same time you apply all the steps. Okay, I'm going to something like in SQL RDBMS data, use commit, right? Commit rollback, something like that. Commit is permanent changes. Make the changes permanent, or apply all the steps whatever we carried out in the case of Power BI. Okay, and if you see here, and now you can see the data here in the data view. Okay, there are 3 icons. One is the report view, other one is Power Pivot view, and this is your data view. Ideally, they could have given some other icon for the data transfer here itself. Instead of giving it here, right? They could have mentioned it here itself. The reason could be like, this one is not available as part of your Power BI. It'll open other, outside of this, it'll open other. That's the reason I think they've given. But ideally, they could have mentioned it here. This is my, perception. Okay. Okay, well, now we are able to successfully combine the data from 3 files. And here, the advantage with folder connector, you understood. So it picks up the files automatically. And you have an option to exclude those files that you don't need it. But the salient feature of this one is, you don't have to load the files one after other. Once you load it, and once you schedule these kind of reports, and in future, if any data file comes to that NC daily sales folder, it goes and picks up automatically, right? Once you schedule the data refresh, it goes and picks up the files. The newly post file in that folder will get picked up automatically, and that one will be made part of your Power BI desktop itself. Got it? So now if you click on the icon here, you can see all the columns that belongs to this file. Now it is called as a table. It is no longer a folder because the data file got loaded here. All the files got loaded and combined. Next step is I'm going to the visualization pane and I'm going to select the table visual. So here I just drop the category column and the next one is the sales column here. You can see here the moment, if you notice here, right, the moment you drop the sales column here, what happens? It gives you the total sales value, 5,13,477. This is the total sales. In this 3 months file, right? If you look at here, the NC daily sales, all the 3 months data put together, what is the total sales that you can see it here, right? When you drop the sales column. So how it is possible? One thing, if you notice here very clearly, just before each numeric column, discount is a numeric column, right? So numeric data type, and the sales also numeric data type, and shipping cost is also numeric data type, and row.id is also just next to the numeric data type columns, you can see the sigma notation, which means by default, Power BI performs the aggregation on the numeric data type columns. It uses sum function, SUM, sum function. That is the aggregation function. The default aggregation is sum, that is done automatically by default by Power BI Desktop, which means when you drop the numeric data type column into a visual, it gives you the sum of it gives you, it applies the sum on your entire data for that specific column. If it is a profit, it applies the sum function on the entire profit column. Okay. Okay, along with this sales, it gives me the total sales. Fine, I'm going to drop a text column, category column. See the beauty here. The moment when you drop the text column, which is nothing but the category column, it's a text data type. So here I have 3 categories are there in this category column: furniture, office supplies, technology. The moment when I drop the text column along with this single value, right, 5,30,000, now it got split up with, it gives me the breakdown of sales by category. Each category, how much sales we made in total out of this overall total. So out of the 5,13,000, 1,29,000 revenue we generated in furniture, office supply, this is what the revenue. It gives me the breakup automatically. I did not write any logic, I did not write any code. This is the beauty, right? You just keep this in mind. Now, if you now just focus only on the total sales, 5,13,000. Very good. Now I just go to this folder. For example, if I remove the this is the one as more data, May file. I'm going to remove the May file. Fine. Let's say you have scheduled the report here. Okay. And but you might be wondering, now you have deleted one file here in this folder. Obviously the total should be different, because out of for the all the 3 files put together, this is the total sales. If you exclude one file or remove the file, it should show the total sales for only those 2 tables or files, right? But it shows still the older one. In order to make your report up to date, you need to click on refresh. This time what happens, it goes and load the data files, whatever that are available currently in that folder. And at the same time, it applies all the transformations, whatever you did it earlier. Okay. As part of your Power Query editor. That is very important. Look here now, the total got changed. After I hit this refresh button, I can see that the up-to-date information here. Supposing you have 200 reports and each report you are using folder connector, the folder path for each reports are different. In that case, what will happen is, right, if you want to keep your reports up to date, you need to open the 200 reports and then you need to click on it, right? You don't have to do it. In Power BI Cloud Service, you have a scheduler wherein you can, schedule the data refresh. For example, 10 a.m. or early morning 5 a.m., refresh the reports. In that case, in case you load any new files here, if any new file get pushed here, since you have scheduled the data refresh by 5 a.m. just before 5 a.m., a new file will get pushed here. Listen, these are the things that you gathered as part of your requirements. Okay, high level design, you specify everything. You know which files will get pushed in which folder and what time, and what is the schedule, and how frequently you need to refresh it. All the things you would have captured as part of your the detailed requirements or high level design document. So based on which you do the scheduling. Okay. For example, let's assume that by 5 a.m. I just go here. 5 a.m. you schedule the data refresh. And I just copy this and then I'll put it in NC daily sales. And I just put it. Let's say this file got pushed automatically. I just did this manually, but in the world, real time scenario, these files will get pushed automatically. They would have created some jobs. Even that jobs, would have been scheduled. It got pushed here automatically. Now you just think that way. Obviously, this one should get refreshed. Let's this one got pushed by 4:30 a.m. By 5 a.m., you would have scheduled the refresh. Here I'm clicking it manually, but it is not manual. Once you schedule it there, let's say 5 a.m. you schedule the data refresh. By 5 a.m. what will happen is it will automatically refresh this report so that your report will have the up-to-date information in it. Okay. Got it. So now the total got changed after the data refresh. In order to keep in sync with the data that are available, all the files that are available here, right? It is changing the data automatically because of the refresh. Very good. Let's say here, I'm going to remove it one. Sorry, let's see. I removed. No, I removed it mistakenly. Let's see daily sales. My God. Okay. I just do undo it. Undo is not. Yeah, undo. Okay, I just go here and then in the here I have all the files. March, Feb, and May. Copy and then NC daily sales. Oh, okay, undo worked here. Okay, good. So here, for example, I just remove the May.csv file again. And I hit the refresh now. Okay, now it shows the up-to-date data here. And now it shows only 2 months data, right? I just go here, 2 files data, Power Query Editor. Here what I do is I'm going to remove this column, row.id, because this is not required for my report or data analytics. And then what I do is I just go here and then I see that here the sales column, everything is good, but the date data type, right? So the order date supposed to be date data type. But if you see here, in the case of Power Query, next to each and every column, you can see some icon. If you see ABC, that means the order date column is a text data type. And if you see 1.2, that is nothing but the decimal data type. 1, 2, 3 is a whole number. This tells us this column is a whole number data type. Okay. But this one's supposed to be data type. Unfortunately, it's in Power BI assigned text because it considers them, since you have the mix of the forward slash and hyphen with the number values it assigns. So now what I do is I'm going to convert the date data type. Before that, I want to make sure that the values in this column are consistent because somewhere they use the delimiter for the month, date, year, the forward slash, and somewhere they use the hyphen. So we make sure that we are using the consistent delimiter for all the values in the order date column. I am going to select the replace values. Here what I do is I use the hyphen. Wherever the hyphen is there, okay, replace it with forward slash or the opposite. When I hit OK, what happens is, okay, all the values are consistent. Now it is good. We are good with converting the date data type. You can select the date data type here, but instead of doing this, we can use this option using locale, because here you can see the values are in US date format, month, date, year. Look here, 29, right? So it's there in the middle. So month, date, year format. So if hence I'm going to, it's a US date format, hence I'm going to use the locale and English United States. This is the one you need to remember it, okay? I'm going to hit OK. Okay, now the order date column got converted. Date data type. We can see the icon, calendar icon here. Very good. So what are the steps that I can? I removed the row.id and then I converted the text data type. I converted the order date from text to number data type. But before that, I did some other step, right? I replaced the value. Look here, if I select this step, I replace the hyphen by / to make all the values in this column are consistent. I did this and then only I did the type conversion. Now, if I go and apply, close and apply, remember all the steps, okay? At least start on high level, okay? You don't have to memorize. Keep it in mind what I did, okay? At least some extent. Look here, 17th, because 2 months data, right? Only 2 files are there, 2 months data put together. This is the total. Now, what I do is I just go here, the same folder, and then I just go here and I'm going to copy the me file into this one. I'm going to push it here. Now, if I go and click on refresh, what is going to happen is it is going to load all the 3 files, whatever we used it, and it will combine it. Right. So while combining it, it apply all the transformations, whatever we carried out in the past on the new file automatically. The total got changed. Very good. And if you go to the transform data here, and if you see here, if you open this file, you will have the row.id column will be there. This new file which got pushed here, it has the row.id, and again the order date column will be a text data type. What happens is, right, it does all kind of, it apply all the steps to your new file also. It's kind of a reusable. Look here, the row.id is not there, order date is automatically converted as a date data type for your new file also as well. All these steps were carried out even for the new files. You don't have to redo the same thing. Again, as and when you see now with this, you are able to understand the difference, the differentiation. When you use the get data for option, you need to load the files one after the other. With the folder connector option, you don't have that pain. And other advantages, whatever the transformation, the steps that you carried out in the past while combining the files, even if any new file comes, right, with this, the format issues or anything, right, all these steps will be applied automatically. It is a super cool feature. So hope you understood the advantages, what is folder connector is all about, and how you can use the folder connector option here. And also you learned about the advantages of this one. And the prerequisite also I discussed it, right? So when you combine the files using the folder connector, all the files in the folder and the subfolders also processed, right? And then the results are combined. Okay, but here what you need to ensure that to combine all the files to work correctly, all the files in the folder and the subfolders have the same file format. You need to remember this, and the structure also same. Okay, if you want to exclude any of the files, you can use the transform data power query. There you can exclude the files that are not required for your analysis. This wraps up the folder connector